This conference will now be recorded.
Are we recording now, Chad? Okay, perfect. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is the board meeting for PAREA study session. We're going to start, I think, at this point by verifying that we have a quorum.
Okay, Jeff,
Yes, here.
Lori,
Here.
Owen,
Here.
Ed,
Here.
Annie,
Here.
Kathy,
Here.
and Julie is absent.
Perfect. Sounds like we have a quorum. With that being said, before we start, I wanted to make a quick.
Jeff, pause
yes.
real fast. Just for the record, state the date and time that the meeting.
Oh, okay. Apologies.
That's all right.
It is 11:01 a.m. on September 11th. And so we're going to start the meeting here. The quorum's been verified. Just to make an announcement as we start, that this is just for a study session only, that we will not be including or taking any public input or making any type of formal decisions as a board today. Again, this is just a study session to understand PAREA. I think at that point, when we have questions or if questions do arise from the board, if they would direct those questions toward the presenter, that would be great, so that we can kind of keep this going along. I did have an opportunity to read Sandra. I'm going to butcher the last name here. Sandra's bio, very thorough. So I'm just going to say, Sandra, is there anything that you would like to say, Sandra, before we start the meeting? Introduce yourself and we'll get started.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. I'm Sandy Animatis. I'm an SRA designated appraiser with the Appraisal Institute. I hold a CG license, and I've been appraising for 43 years, so quite a history in appraisal. And I was a subject matter expert on the PAREA program from day one. So it's been my passion, and I'm excited that you're allowing me to be here today.
I don't think there's a formal itinerary, Sandy, so I think we're just going to jump into it and let you tell us all that we need to hear, please.
All right, great, thanks. I want to say that with us here today also we have Dana Thornberry, who is the full-time mentor, and she's supervisor over the other mentors that we have, so a very important person and somebody I'm very, very happy to have on staff running PAREA for us. We also have, of course, Scott DeBazio, who you all know, and we're very proud that Scott is still part of our team, and we really enjoy his work that he's done for us. So, like I said earlier, I was with PAREA from pretty much day one as a subject matter expert. And what I basically did is went out and tried to find case studies of residential properties all over the United States, because I wanted a wide variety of properties. And then I had to find appraisers that would allow me to have their entire work files. So we brought those work files in to the team at the Appraisal Institute, and we developed those properties into case studies that we use now for PAREA. We have a variety, like I say, they're from several different states, all over. So one of the great things about that is, you hear a lot of complaints that appraisers don't do a good job at market analysis. When you're dealing with properties that are in different parts of the country, some areas that you're not familiar with, waterfront properties, mountain properties, all kinds of properties, this gives you a really good idea of what it really takes to do market research. And I'm really happy to say that we have some really good materials and good mentors that are working through these issues with the mentors. So our case studies include residential, which is your single unit, condominiums, and vacant land, and multi-unit. And the reason we did vacant land, it's not acreage, we're looking at platted lots, because we find that in the market, a lot of appraisers don't really know how to establish vacant land. So that's part of the PAREA program as well. We have 2 modules in order for them to reach their 1,500 hours to take their state exam. They have to take both modules. Even if all they want is a CR, to get the 1,500 hours, they have to take both. So we have licensed residential and certified residential. Most of our participants, well, all of our participants right now are working in the LR, which is the licensed residential. That's where these 10 case studies, plus we have 3 that they have to work on their own. So with the 10, they're working with mentors. And the mentors, well, they pace them and talk to them throughout each of the case studies. And the last 3 then, once they finish their 10, the last 3 they have to do on their own, and then those are graded. And they're usually graded by somebody other than their mentor. So they get a second opinion as to their quality of work or areas they need to improve on or things they're doing really, really well. And they have to meet a certain standard or they don't pass the LR. If they don't pass the first try, they do get a second try to complete those last 3 case studies. And then they're able to go take their state exam for licensed residential if their state allows for licensed residential. And I'm really proud to say that of the folks that have graduated, 5 of them took their state exam and passed it first time. So that really, I'm really proud to say that, because that means they've learned something. Our mentors are doing a great job with them, and to be able to pass it first time is huge. So we're really excited about that. So once they finish the LR, then they could go into the CR if they're looking to do a certified residential. So in certified residential, same thing. They work through case studies with the mentor, and those case studies in the certified residential are going to be a little more complex. And they do have to work through the assignment as if they were actually doing it for a users of our services. So they have to learn to use MLS. We also give them a free software while they're in PAREA. That was given to them. We have a vendor, Appraiser Pro, that has allowed them to use their software. So they actually learned how to use appraisal software. We have a knowledge center that has a lot of great information. I think I sent you some printouts that gives you some details on what's included in the knowledge center. So if they're having trouble proving sales, they can go to the knowledge center and find Excel spreadsheets. They can learn how to do sensitivity analysis. There's templates there for that. There's a lot of our text material, our body of knowledge is in the knowledge center. So they have resources. If their qualifying education didn't quite measure up to what they needed to know, they have resources in our knowledge center as well as a mentor to speak with. So in the certified residential and the licensed residential, they're more easy cases. So they still have to prove adjustments and they still have to write the report. But when they go to certified residential, they're a little more complex. They may have some functional obsolescence to deal with, or economic obsolescence, or external obsolescence. So they get a wide variety of property types and complexity. By the time they finish certified residential, they should be pretty confident in developing adjustments, writing a report, and understanding the research that needs to be done. They even have to go out and search for tax records, deeds. We give them a lot spreadsheet with a lot of data in it, and then some they'll look up on public record. So they'll get a pretty good idea, and it's kind of interesting or funny. I know I've heard from some of the mentors that the participants sometimes don't realize all the research an appraiser has to do. So we're making them do everything that you would have to do in the field, other than they don't go out and measure or look at the property. And we also have a module where they actually digitally measure a house as if they were out in the field with it. So you'll see a little sample of that when Scott starts the video for you, the demonstration for you. So PAREA is not for everyone. You know, we have people that start it and then they realize it's really not for them, and that's okay. You know, maybe they thought it was something different. But when people come into the program and they're really passionate, they want to get into appraising, they understand what they're getting into, and they're self-motivated to do the work, they are the ones that succeed. We've had people finish in about 8 months, something like that. We anticipate they'd probably take a year to get through each module. Some will take less, depending on how much time they dedicate to it. Keep in mind also that most of the participants are working a part-time job or a full-time job. So with that, I'll open up for any questions, or maybe you want to go to the video next. What would you like to go to the video next, or you have questions before we do that?
I'm still kind of, I'm listening with everybody else. I think it's a good idea to show the video, then maybe questions before
Okay.
Scott can start.
Great. We
Scott,
actually have
you're up.
2 videos. They're both about 15 minutes long. And we'll show the first video, pause and ask if there are any questions. And then if the board wishes to see the second video, we'll show that as well. Or we can provide that to board members and staff in the form of a link for you to take a look at it at your leisure. But let's go ahead and show the first video, and then we can figure out the second.
Welcome to this appraisal experience
Are you getting the sound
program
with
for
it, to be
licensed
sure?
residential. This program will help you practice your appraisal skills by presenting you with different appraisal assignments. The program consists of 10 practice assignments and 3 final assignments. The practice assignments will allow you to apply what you learned in the
I'm going to pause just for a second to make sure everybody's seeing the video and hearing the audio as well. Yes.
Yes.
I'm getting nods that that's the case, so good.
Yeah, there's a little bit of an echo. Is that because it's coming through your speaker?
Yeah, I will turn. I'll turn my mic off.
the qualifying education modules in real-life situations. You will have mentor interactions at different points in the program. Complete all the steps in the mentor interactions within an assignment to mark the assignment as completed. The final assignments will be unguided and graded.
Welcome to an overview of the Appraisal Institute's Practical Applications of Real Estate Appraisal program. AI PAREA is an online program covering appraisal theory and methodology in real-world simulations with mentoring from expert appraisers. In this overview, we will preview many of the research-based features of AI PAREA that you saw in the opening animation. We'll look at practice assignments, immersive activities, the Knowledge Center, the critically important mentor guidance, and final assignments. Let's begin with practice assignments. PAREA is about experience in real estate appraising, and as such, focuses on providing that experience through practice appraisal assignments at both the licensed residential and certified residential level. PAREA participants complete 10 practice assignments, appraisal reports based on real properties using authentic data and following the valuation process that participants have learned during their qualifying education courses. A variety of property types are featured in the practice assignments, including single unit residence, 2 to 4 unit, condominium, vacant land, and others. Within each property type, PAREA participants must first complete a Level 1 assignment. Level 1 assignments are less complex, provide the participant with many resources, and offer rich system guidance and support. After completing a Level 1 assignment in a property type, participants must complete a Level 2 assignment. Level 2 assignments are more complex, require the participants to find or analyze resources more thoroughly, and offer less system guidance and support. Mentor guidance, feedback, and review are always available and required for both Level 1 and Level 2 assignments. Let's take a closer look at a practice assignment. PAREA participants see a cityscape view offering a variety of property types. The participant enters an assignment by choosing one of the property types. For the purpose of this demo, let's look at the vacant land property type. Once selected, the participant will see both the Level 1 assignment and the Level 2 assignment. The less complex Level 1 assignment must be completed in each property type before unlocking the more complex property type Level 2. Let's explore the Level 1 vacant land Hennepin Circle property. When you click on Hennepin Circle, you see the steps of the valuation process. These steps serve as the conceptual scaffold that models expert performance and also allows a participant to track their progress through an assignment. When you click on the first step, you will see a brief overview of the property and a reminder about managing the many resources that are available or that you developed during the assignment. This is important because PAREA models and requires that participants keep a detailed work file to accompany their final appraisal report, both of which must be submitted for mentor review at the end of the assignment. In Level 1 assignments, resources are provided at the point they are needed. In Level 2 assignments, participants must decide among many resources which are relevant, or find resources themselves using internet research. Participants experience a variety of interactions as they move through PAREA. Since PAREA assignments emulate real life, we start all assignments with an engagement letter. You review the letter to start making decisions about an assignment. For example, in Level 1 assignments, participants are required to identify the client and intended user in the engagement letter. Because we want to guide participants towards expert performance, they have 2 attempts for these kinds of interactions. They know if they get a response wrong after the first time around. Then they can try again. And if they still get it wrong, they will see corrective feedback, which tells them why a response is wrong or suggests they work further with their mentor. Another kind of interaction is the familiar multiple choice question. Here you are being asked, what are the competency requirements you must comply with for this particular appraisal assignment? Again, when you submit your response, you'll get feedback that gives you more information and allows you to understand the intent behind the question. Since each of the activities in an assignment is based on a realistic task, participants are also required to extract and analyze data from written documents, such as zoning and legal descriptions, and visual resources such as GIS and aerial data, and then derive information needed to complete the assignment. Note also that the system provides important guidance to participants to reflect contemporary appraisal practices. All of the PAREA interactions support successfully completing the appraisal assignment. As participants progress through the steps of the evaluation process, they simultaneously complete the relevant reporting. In this example, participants would use the AI Reports Land Appraisal Report to complete the subject property identification and subject property history. As sections are completed, the report is uploaded to the system. For non-narrative parts of the report, once submitted, participants can see model answers for that section so that they can improve their response and identify any knowledge gaps as they proceed. For more narrative parts of the report that reflect essential parts of an assignment, where participants must analyze data, make conclusions, and explain their reasoning, we require that mentors review that section of the report in detail and offer corrective feedback if needed. This prevents a participant from proceeding too far into an assignment with critical conceptual misunderstanding or inaccurate analysis. Since all submissions are stored in the system, participants can also view the entire report as they work. This larger context provides the ability for the participants to track their progress, or, just as in real life, to make changes and updates to different sections as they learn more about an assignment. So one practice assignment is a series of questions and reporting designed on an expert model of the evaluation process. By completing several different practice assignments, using a variety of property types, interaction types, and complexity levels, all in a realistic environment with both system and mentor guidance, PAREA participants will generalize their knowledge beyond one particular setting. This generalized knowledge can then be transferred to the many different and novel situations that make up everyday appraisal practice. While a variety of practice assignments allows for generalized knowledge, there are some foundational skills that appraisers use on a frequent basis and must be able to perform quickly in a fluent and automated manner. To ensure competencies in these areas, AI PAREA features immersive activities. Immersive activities offer rich 3D and 2D virtual environments for the practice of 3 particular skills: neighborhood analysis, measurement, and site inspection. In the neighborhood analysis activity, participants explore the important elements of a neighborhood. Participants begin with an aerial view and then zoom into interactive 360-degree perspectives to consider factors such as surrounding amenities. These might include primary and secondary schools, universities, shopping, parks, and athletic facilities. After exploring a particular area, participants can zoom out to see the area in context. In this way, they are able to explore the entire neighborhood in detail, one area at a time. In the site measurement activity, participants use a realistic 3D model and tools to measure a subject property following the latest ANSI standards. Participants explore the outside of the property to take external measurements, and then enter the property to take internal measurements. And finally, in the site inspection activity, participants walk through and explore a realistic 3D property and learn to focus on important elements and conditions necessary for a credible appraisal. As the participant moves through the property, hotspots appear with relevant questions as well as visuals related to typical site inspection tasks that appraisers do in everyday practice. Taken together, the immersive activities, neighborhood analysis, measurement, and site inspection provide the participant with significant practice and foundational skills used frequently in appraisal. In addition to the multitude of opportunities for experience and learning within the practice assignments and immersive activities, AI PAREA features the Knowledge Center, a rich repository for supplemental resources. The Knowledge Center is an ever-evolving collection of tutorials, tools, documentation, standards, and resources for PAREA participants. Current and planned Knowledge Center items include access to partner appraisal form software and partner MLS systems, tutorials on GLA calculation, market analysis, construction draws, and GIS, and links to resources from the Appraisal Institute, the Appraisal Foundation and USPAP, and federal agencies and the GSEs. With practice assignments, immersive activities, and the Knowledge Center, our program offers participants a variety of resources. However, experience and learning do not occur alone in a vacuum. The true cornerstone of AI PAREA is its mentors and their collaboration with participants throughout the program. Mentors are required to meet not only the Appraisal Foundation's requirements, but also additional Appraisal Institute requirements that significantly weight contemporary residential practice, knowledge, and technology, along with the professionalism and ambassadorship of Appraisal Institute designation. Each individual PAREA participant will be assigned a mentor when beginning the program. Mentors are available for formal support and guidance at all times while the participants are completing the practice activities and immersive activities. In addition to initial and ongoing training, mentors will be provided with detailed information for each practice assignment, which highlights its critical experience and learning aspects. In addition, we anticipate providing mentors with resources to coach participants on other aspects of an appraisal career, such as securing their first job and diversifying their practice. Mentors also serve as an important resource to evaluate the quality of participant work. At the end of each of the practice assignments, participants upload a completed report and work file. AI PAREA requires mentors and participants to then meet virtually to review the report. During this mentor check-in, mentors use objective performance rubrics to offer feedback on the report. If significant deficiencies are found, the mentor can request improvements before accepting the report. Finally, after completing all of the PAREA practice assignments and immersive activities, using the resources of the Knowledge Center and mentor guidance, the participant is eligible to begin working on the last component of AI PAREA, the final assignments. For both licensed residential and certified residential, participants will complete 3 final assignments. The required property types are a single unit residence, a 2 to 4 unit, and a condominium. The assignments must be fully USPAP compliant. Final assignments also have 3 other critical features. Unlike practice assignments, final assignments must be completed by participants independently and without substantive mentor assistance. Upon submission, each final assignment will be evaluated by an independent grader who is not the participant's mentor. And finally, reasonable opportunities for resubmission will exist. Upon acceptance of all 3 final assignments, AI PAREA participants will receive a formal certificate indicating successful completion of the program. We believe that AI PAREA's research-based design, featuring mentor interaction, practice assignments, immersive activities, the Knowledge Center, and final assignments, will provide participants with the experience, knowledge, and skills they need to confidently and competently advance to the next stage of their appraisal careers. The Appraisal Institute looks forward to being the leader in this process.
All right. I guess if there are any questions, now would be a good time for us to try to respond. We've got Dana and Sandy, so we'll try to direct the question to the most appropriate person.
I guess I'll just start if that's okay. I'll put my camera back on so you can see me. Hi.
Hello.
So, tell me again, Sandy, how many have graduated from the program?
Dana, is it 7 or 6?
7 right now, and we have probably 5, 6, 7 in final assignments right now.
Okay. And you said that of that 7, that 5 passed their state exam on the first try. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The other 2, their states don't recognize the LR, so they have to figure out, either they're going to do CR with us or grab another option.
What would the other option be?
A supervisor.
Okay, I see. So I saw in the video that there's reasonable chances for resubmission. So what happens if what does happen if they fail an assignment, and how many times do they get to try to do it again?
Well, we've technically they get 2, and that's what we tell them. We have had a couple that, let's just say on the third one is very difficult. It's a 2 to 4 unit in a small market, and there's a lot of challenges for them to support every adjustment. And so we've had a few that have struggled, so we have allowed them, one more submission. We hate to just be like, oh, sorry, you're out. You spent a year with us or whatever, 8 months, and you're out. So if they reasonably can do it. And the other side is they can, during the final um, assignment stage, they can reach out to their mentor for general guidance, not specific. The mentor cannot give them the answers. They cannot review a report. They cannot say, oh, yes, that's correct or that's not correct. They can talk about site extraction method, or they can talk about sensitivity or making adjustments in a general manner.
Okay. And then what is the mentor student ratio then, or what is it expected to be once this gets fully underway?
We would right now we're kind of shooting for about 40. We have gone through a lot of changes with the program as far as giving them additional guidance, on the front end as far as the participants. So we're trying to increase the mentor participant ratio, if at all possible, as we go, as we learn. We didn't realize that a lot of students coming in really didn't have the basic knowledge. They truly didn't understand what highest and best use is. They didn't understand that. No, we had some that had never seen an appraisal form. that we
Mhm.
so we've had to backtrack and add a lot of guidance, and one of our biggest backtrack is going to hit the system here probably the next week, with additional guidance in the Knowledge Center and within the practice assignment. And that will be their first one. So hopefully we're going to expand that base, and then, the mentors can potentially take on more. Right now, our mentors, with having to step back, we're anywhere from myself, I'm probably 16 people right now, up to 40.
And that's for how many candidates?
You mean mentors, or
No, students.
that's 40 participants, 16 to 40 participants per mentor is where we are right
Okay.
now.
Okay. 16 to.
And Dana, you do more than just mentor.
Yeah,
You're the team leader, so she oversees everything. That's why she's at
yeah,
16. Yeah.
yeah.
So now there's 4 on staff besides you,
Yes.
full-time mentors,
Right,
and
we have
they are not
4.
allowed. Yeah, they're not allowed to do appraisals. They're full-time mentors, staff people at AI.
And Dana, I think the last number I saw was that there are about 144, 145 people enrolled in the program entirely.
Right. hmm
So, okay.
And all mentors are designated. We have 2 that have been bank reviewers previously, 2 that own their own business. So we do, it is, we're very lucky we have that broad base. Um,
Okay. I think that kind of sums up my questions, and I'll yield to someone else. But I just had one more thought about that, and it just comes up with something you said, Dana. Um, has anyone ever considered doing like an entrance competency exam just to see if they know what highest and best use is before they do it? I mean, would that be a good thing to do?
Yes, if you I'm in the midst of creating, Sandy and I talked about this week, of creating 100 test questions for our readiness exam that we are planning to implement. So
Okay.
we're going that route. We were going to do, perhaps a Pearson VUE, but that was going to be expensive. That was going to be a charge to the participants. So we have opted for, we're going to do something in-house so that they can take it. Now, if they have taken the basic procedures, a certain course that Appraisal Institute offers, and we know that it has, that exam has the basics that they need. If they have taken all their education through, or they have that course, then we're allowing them to pass on the exam.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll add
Or
to that.
that's kind of the
We
go ahead.
sorry, Dana.
Oh,
Go
no,
ahead.
that's okay. Go ahead, Sandy.
We found that a lot of the participants coming in had taken education outside of the Appraisal Institute, so they weren't quite prepared to jump right into the experience side. So that's what's kind of bogged down our mentors. We didn't expect that. I mean, we expected there would be some of that, but not to the degree that we found. So that's why the entrance exam became very, very important to us. And then if they don't pass the entrance exam, what happens, Dana?
Keep taking it.
But
I
but
mean,
is
we
there a
won't let them in.
remedial course?
Is there a what?
Remedial course, like they can go take another course if they didn't pass it?
Well, they could go, to your point, they could go take the basic procedures course and pass that exam. Um, so that would also be an option. hmm
Okay.
Uh, Thank you. We've got a couple more board members with their hands up. Could we recognize Owen to go ahead and ask?
Yeah, thank you. So I have the same question that Annie had. I want to make sure that I heard this correctly. So you've had 7 graduates so far,
hmm
5 passed their state's exam on the first try, and the other 2 were not eligible to take an exam in their state.
Correct.
Um,
They don't recognize the licensed residential.
Good. Then I heard it correctly. Perfect. I had a question about the interaction types. One of your slides showed we have multiple property types and multiple interaction types. The interaction types, I'm assuming, are things like the online program and then conversations with their mentor, or is
Mhm.
there some other component to this that I just missed?
Yes, we, and if you'll, there's a couple of sidebar on that. Anyway, let me just focus on this. Um, initially, the mentor reaches out to the participant, and some of us give them like a booking link. They can book a meeting with us anytime they want. Now, there are some limits to that. We had one that wanted to book every week and have the mentor read the slides to them. We don't do that. Um, but the whole point of level one is that they meet with the mentor initially. At step 3, they have a check-in where they explain their selection for their comparable sales. And then at step 6, they have another mentor check-in, which can be handled either through a mentor direct virtual meeting or via email discussions, back and forth. They provide their sales or provide their information. We use the Canvas system to grade, and the way a lot of us do it is we have their PDF that they've submitted, and then we put comments and notes on our grading, and then resubmit that back to them. And then as of step 8, which is your final evaluation, they also are required to have another meeting with their mentor during level 1. Now, and level 1 has 5 assignments. When they reach level 2, we typically have, whatever meetings they need along the way. If they need some help, we'll have an initial meeting to, okay, here's the resources that you'll need. Here's what's going on with this assignment. And then, likely 1 or 2 meetings, or, I have some people that work odd hours, so we may communicate via email. They may send an email at 5 o'clock in the morning and I respond at 7. So, but there's quite a bit of communication between the mentors um, and the participants via those options.
This question may be too broad and maybe unfair. So if this is unfairly broad, please just let me know. But I think that some of the feedback that we have heard as a board has been concern that an online program will likely steer participants toward resolution of certain issues, whereas the practical experience of a real estate appraiser is often to have to identify what those issues might be. To what extent are the modules geared toward forcing a student to recognize things like I'll make up, right? Where there might be a cost to cure or where there might be external obsolescence versus allowing them or requiring that they identify those potential components on their own? Is that too broad a question? Are the
We have
modules laser focused on this module is external obsolescence, or are the modules a little bit more
no,
open and might hide it someplace?
they're open, and the participants are given the comparable MLS data sheets. For example, our 2 to 4 unit. We have several sales that back up to a 4-lane road. We have 2 sales that are front to a commercial, and we don't tell them that. We make them do the research and figure it out, and then we make them decide. We have guidance that talks about, you have a view of commercial and you have a view of railroad tracks. You're proximate to railroad tracks down at the end of the block, and then we have a sale that's right next to the railroad tracks. So we kind of give them some guidance as far as what the adjustment could potentially be, a range, but for them to consider it, and then consider that external obsolescence in addition to the contributory site value. And, is that area a buffer for the traffic, or do you need to make an adjustment for location and view? So it's not a cut and dry. There's no 100% correct answer. If they don't get, $5,000 for external obsolescence, they're out. We let them, I mean, it's their appraisal. It's about their support. And that's a lot of the way the final assignments are. They don't, there's no one correct answer. If the student provides reasonable, logical support, then, they're moved forward.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
All right, looks like, thanks, Owen, by the way. Kathy, you are up to ask your time.
Thank you. Sounds to me that maybe with the issues we have with our current supervisors, we should make our current supervisors go through this program before they ever supervise a trainee, right? That certainly is part of the issues that we have right now as supervisors that are not as quality as we'd like for them to be. But that is my side note. Sorry about that. I had two
That being
questions.
said,
Yeah, that being said, right? Um, two clarification questions. The 1,500 hours is covered in both modules. They have to cover both modules, and during that time, they get the 1,500 hours of experience hours. Correct?
Sandy, I'll let you.
Yes, they need both modules in order to get the 1,500 to take the state exam.
Okay, great.
And
Scott,
I
you want
think,
to speak up on that?
yeah, I think the better way to phrase that is the equivalent of 1,500 hours, because it's not an hours-based program, but they are getting the same type of credit that they would need to complete the experience requirement for CR. If they only go through LR, they will get the equivalent of the 1,000 hours that's required for LR experience.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarity. And then the second question I had, again, is just a clarity question. On the level 2, those are done on different properties rather than the same properties that were done on level 1, correct?
Correct. They're different properties that's just the same. They have a vacant land, they have a single unit, 2 to 4 condo, and then an other, which the other is typically a one step harder. So for other in level 2, it's a single unit residence, but they have to do comparable rentals.
Okay, that was the only questions I had. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that's out here that has any questions or comments they'd like to add? Okay, well, I have a question then. As far as the modules, it's pretty fascinating to see how we've come with technology to measure with the ANSI standards and look at like the panel doors and refrigerators, things like that. But I was curious, in some of your items, do you have any adverse um, things that might come up? You can't scratch and sniff a computer screen. So if you have like mold, mildew, do you have pictures of that, or potential sound, external obsolescence, those types of things that come up in any of your assignments?
Yes, we have the external obsolescence, like I mentioned in the 2 to 4 unit, where they have traffic behind them, things like that. And then we have one sample, one of our single unit attached residences has mildew on, apparent mildew mold on, and so it's shown in the pictures. They're supposed to do um, the appraisal is subject to a home inspection being done. There's a deck that has holes in it that's not safe. And so the appraisal is subject, and that's the same appraisal. The appraisal is subject to replacement or repair of that deck. So we try to do a broad range of things within the assignments, and then areas that we've noted, like short-term rentals, Airbnb, we might have that in the knowledge center because obviously that's a huge concern that they would consider the short-term income for a long-term, gross rent multiplier.
I'll add to that on the video for the CR. They have to identify any functional obsolescence inside a house, like looking at the kitchen and is it functionally, workable, or are there other issues with the site? So they can get that through the video.
Fantastic. Hey, thank you for that. To keep it moving, Annie, you were back up with another question or two?
Yeah, I was thinking about something. One of the things that I think is kind of a skill that appraisers need to learn, and some learn it better than others, is confirming comps with brokers and getting people on the phone and getting them to talk. Is there opportunity for the candidates to do that with the comparables that they're using?
We don't allow them to because obviously, who wants 50 people that are going through the program calling the same person? you know,
Understood. Is there a way to get them? I mean, because
we,
it's
we
important.
talk about verification. We have stuff in the Knowledge Center. We have Baxter that I was just talking about, the 2 to 4 unit. they have a whole like 2 to 3 pages of like pretend notes. Like you talk to the broker, you talk to the listing agent, here's what the listing agent said. Um, so we try to coach them all the way to from a mentor standpoint, you know, this verification is important. That's why you need to, because they complain because the MLS doesn't match the um, assessor's record. Sorry, well, that's part of verification. So that's what that's why we tell them. And we're no, they do not directly contact people, but we do have a lot in the practice assignments and the knowledge center advising them that verification is important.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Looks like Lori, you are up.
Great, thanks, guys. Hey, I noticed on one of the modules there, the appraiser or the candidate was required to discuss or determine competency. And of course, the competency requirements under USPAP are different from that of the GSEs. And I noticed that that was
Mhm.
actually that was brought up. How much of this is directed toward the actual practical application of performing appraisals for mortgage lending purposes, for example?
I would say probably 70% is mortgage, and then we have like our 2 vacant lands are individual attorneys. So we have, different. That's why in that question, the answer would be different than it would be for a mortgage,
Okay.
depending on.
Okay, very good. Okay, so
Mhm,
understanding different client types and that
mhm,
different clients have different requirements and all of that. Okay, very good. Thank you for
correct.
answering my question.
Mhm. You're welcome.
Well, doesn't look like we have any other hands raised. Do we need to, Scott, you were talking about a different or a second video. Is that something that would give us any more insight than what we have right now, the first video that we watched?
It's a little bit more interactive, and like I said, it's about 15 minutes long. It's narrated by Dana, and I'm more than happy to put that on the screen now if it's the will of the board to do that. But I'm also happy to forward the link to Chad along with the password to provide to you all to take a look at your leisure. But I will do whatever whatever the board would like.
Jeff, and it actually shows you like a practice assignment, and then we have Appraise It Pro open, and so it kind of shows what they have to do. They have to manually enter everything. It's not, it's not automatic fill. So it kind of shows you that and shows you a little bit about final assignments towards the end.
Okay.
Jeff, I'd
All
like
right.
to make one real quick point here on that. Since this is a public meeting for everybody to attend and the whole point is learning, I think having the video in this recorded board meeting would probably be a good idea for everybody else to refer back to later. But I did have one quick question just based on what I've heard during our board meetings for either Sandy or Dana. Jeff, if you don't mind, would that be all right?
Absolutely. Please go ahead,
Okay.
Chad.
So one of the concerns that I've heard between members of the public that have provided testimony on prior rule change things and just organically during board meetings is the concern about you hear a lot of well, I'll just put it this way, boots on the ground experience, real live interactive real world scenario experience. That does appear to be one of the concerns that I've heard that's come up most often is the concern that the structured distance learning environment is not going to match up to what they need in the real world. Could you address how that's been handled in the program?
We have one AI chapter has started a WhatsApp between the PAREA members and a few seasoned members. And so our hope is that the seasoned members, the chapters will, hopefully take some of these people under their wing and take them out and let them watch them, measure a house and inspect a property and, help them with, how do you get a client, so with the, that would be kind of your boots on the ground interaction. One of the funny stories, one of my participants, he is actually on the board. He is going to be their PAREA member. And he said something, one of them brought up, how do we support gross living area adjustments. And so the seasoned members were talking, and we'll do this and that. And one of the other participants that had already been through that assignment said, well, did you check the Knowledge Center? There's a great thing on supporting their sensitivity analysis and this and that. And so they shared it with the seasoned member, and he texted back and said, I think you all have this. I think you're good.
Yeah.
So what you're
And I
So
saying
will
is
also,
the people that
also
are engaged and are actually intent on making this their profession, they're engaging the way that it's intended. There are people that come through the program and think it's going to be a walk in the park or don't finish that probably wouldn't take advantage of those skills, but those people probably wouldn't be passing the licensing exam anyway at the end of the process. So,
correct.
okay, excellent.
and I'll
Sorry,
and I'll
sorry
say
to cut you off. I didn't mean to.
we have 65 chapters around the U.S. and going around as president and speaking at different chapters, we often have PAREA students show up at the chapter meeting because they're encouraged to do that. That way they can connect with somebody in the local market that can help them get up to speed on geographical competency. And I really think that probably the majority of the students coming out of PAREA are probably going to go to work for an AMC, a lender, or somebody else for a while until they get a good feel of the market, and maybe they'll branch out on their own.
Perfect. Thank you both. Appreciate the info.
So Chad, I think based on that, Scott, we probably should go ahead and watch that video so we can have that on record for the public to view also.
Welcome to the AI Licensed Residential, or LR, Practice Assignment Demonstration for Moss Hill. I am Dana Thornberry, AI PAREA Mentor Team Lead, and hopefully I will cover your questions about the virtual program using mentors acting very similar to the traditional supervisor trainee environment for licensing experience credit. The mentor team constantly tries to improve the practice assignments with additional written and video guidance to help participants from beginning to end. We are going on a year since the pilot participants started. So far, we have 7 graduates, and we're hoping to have several more, considering that we have some in level 2 and several in final assignments. Our quickest graduate finished in 5 months and 19 days. The longest has been about 11 months. So it is possible to finish the program in less than 12 months if you put the effort in. Now let's get started. After the
My apologies, folks. I'm not sure.
Silver lining is at least it wasn't me. I was checking all my settings.
Not sure why my internet is clocking right now, but let's see if we can.
welcome to the events in here. Welcome to the God, I have it up if you can't, if you're having some internet issues.
Let's try one more time. We may have to start right from the beginning again, so I apologize.
Welcome to the AI Licensed
Fortunately, it's
Residential
only
or
a minute.
LR Practice Assignment Demonstration for Moss Hill. I am Dana Thornberry, AI PAREA Mentor Team Lead, and hopefully I will cover your questions about the virtual program using mentors acting very similar to the traditional supervisor trainee environment for licensing experience credit. The mentor team constantly tries to improve the practice assignments with additional written and video guidance to help participants from beginning to end. We are going on a year since the pilot participants started. So far, we have 7 graduates, and we're hoping to have several more, considering that we have some in level 2 and several in final assignments. Our quickest graduate finished in 5 months and 19 days. The longest has been about 11 months. So it is possible to finish the program in less than 12 months.
Dana, Chad, if you could give Dana sharing capability, and if she has this presentation up, perhaps it's better for her to do it at this point.
Will do, Scott, no problem. Okay, Dana, you should be good.
Well, I'm guessing why Dana's getting that all set up. Is there any other questions? Oh, never mind. We're going to get started.
We're not hearing anything, Dana.
Anything now?
No. Is there a sound button you have to?
So we are going to move to the Knowledge Center. We have a free Appraise It Pro version.
It might be your computer master volume, possibly.
I could hear it, but it was real faint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's try all the way up there. Over here, we're going to use it. So there's several tips and documents. Can you hear it now? Stellar MLS.
That's better. Yeah.
Yes.
MLS service to use for certain practice assignments. We also have the evaluation process guidance and the practice assignment specific resources where we are adding videos and documents, things of that nature for each to help
Dana,
you.
if it's possible to expand your screen, that might be helpful.
Earlier, we are going to go through the Moss Hill assignment here in just a minute. So let's look at the practice assignment specific resources. Right now, we have loaded into Moss Hill 2 videos for step 6, one being simple paired sales, the other linear regression. So these are always available for you within the Knowledge Center as you get to certain practice assignments. So we are going to move into the Moss Hill assignment. We go to the first screen. This will give us our address, the information where we're going to be in Rosharon, Texas. We start the program. Anytime you see the red circles, you need to click on those to move through the program. So this valuation process model is how the steps are taken through each practice assignment. So we step 1 through 8. Step 3 is typically where you'll have a mentor check-in required on level 1. And then level 2, you'll have, level 2, you won't have that option. But with the practice assignments in level 1, you do. So here, we're on the very first screen. As of October 21st, we receive our assignment. So if we want to click on the image to read the letter of engagement, this gives us all of our information. We know it's a 1004, the address, who our lender is, the borrower is. So we continue on through the practice assignments. Oh, it's timed out because I waited too long to come over here and do that. So you will see this screen if, say, for example, you go have a bite of lunch and come back. This is normal. The system, if you time out, that's just normal for online education. So let's close this out. And then we're going to go back through the practice assignments. Once we see the begin turn red, we can go back into the city view. Turn the volume off. Okay. And we're back here at the same screen where we left. So basically you will answer the questions, submit. That's right. So here's the response. So that's basically how the whole practice assignment will work. You will be given a question. You'll have 2 opportunities to get the correct answer. After that, you will get the correct answer will pop up so you can move forward. So each assignment may have some information. Each slide may have some information that you need to put into Appraise It Pro or just general guidance as far as appraising. You'll have a resource button. Anytime you see that resource button, if you click on that, there'll be various options for you to, for example, here's the plat map. So you would want to download that, save it to your work file, and this is one of the options that you'll likely need to add a PDF and put that in your Appraise It Pro file so that the client can see that within the appraisal. So we just continue forward, answering questions. I want to move to this one here. Which form must you use? We saw on the appraisal engagement order, it was form 1004. If we go to the next slide, it tells us about UAD. So we should be using 1004 Uniform Appraisal Report. So we're going to come over here to Appraise It Pro. We're going to set up a new file. I already have UAD plugged in, so this is the one we want. We hit Create Report, and the Appraise It Pro software will bring in the default template for that. So as you see here in what they call the report panel, we have a list of standard forms that we can use for this appraisal assignment. Now, if you don't like where the UAD definitions and addendums are, you can move it up, down, wherever you would like. But then here is our appraisal report where we can start filling in information. So if we go back up here to the letter of engagement, then we can start to enter in our address. And that's one of the things with the PAREA program. Canvas does not automatically fill out your appraisal report form, just like you would have to do with your, with a standard trainee supervisor. So you will be responsible for filling out the complete appraisal report, the addenda, sketch, pictures, everything. So we can start to fill this information out. There we have different videos as to what the green and the blue means, the different format panel. The format panel, there's a video for that that explains how to use these format panels. For example, the assessor parcel, there's a certain way that should be entered for UAD. For UAD, there's a certain way that the days on market should be entered. So if I enter in 15, then property was listed for 300. Then if I click apply, it will put that into my appraisal form. So that's the difference in the green and the blue. But we have a video, as we saw in the Knowledge Center, that will take you through how to use the format panel and the report panels. So let's go back here. And then we just continue to move forward through the program. We can add maps. We can add, we talked about adding the PDF of the plat. So I can add the PDF. If I go to documents and let's see, add that plat map right in there. So you see how it brings the plat map straight into the appraisal form, and then I can just click on this, rename it, and plat map. So very easy to use as far as bringing in PDFs and documents. You will go through as you move into the last part of step 1. This is where your first submission or the first submission will occur. So you'll have to fill in. It tells you exactly, fill in the subject and site sections here. So remember, since this is a refinance, there is no contract. So for UAD, the contract section is blank. So the contract section where the legend is over here. So we would just leave this area blank. So as a participant, you would fill out all this information, the subject and the site section here. Once again, it's green, so you're going to have, if you have the format panel open, it will show, and you put in your information and then click apply. You upload your report. If we come back here, once you upload your report, it will show over here for the mentor to grade it. Once the mentor has graded it, in your to-do section, it will show up that it's been graded. So if we go down to step 2, which is always scope of work, then on slide 2.2, we see all the resources. So you should have already picked these up in step 1, or they're new as of step 2. So make sure you have all these resources and either put the information into your appraisal report or store them in your work file, and you're done. So basically that's how the practice assignment works. You just go straight through. In step 3 is where you will have your mentor check-in. So this is the last screen that kind of talks to you about which sales to select and how you're to select them and to get ready for the required mentor check-in and the sales discussion. So it tells you exactly what you need to do here. Do not enter the 4 sales into your report yet. You need to have a conversation with the mentor to discuss how you arrived at which sales you're going to select. And at this point, you would upload the report, and it tells you filling in the top 2 lines of the sales comparison approach section, which is the, how many listings and how many comparable sales. So then you will have a mentor check-in meeting, and you can use either your booking link or set that up with your mentor for the meeting. So basically just continue through step 4, step 5. Step 4 is your market conditions, additional data, things like that. Land value opinion, there's a whole process that walks you through how to estimate the land value via allocation for Moss Hill. When we get to step 6, this takes care of your approaches. Now, as we see on 6.2, you have a lot more resources to provide data and information. Within step 6, when we get there, there are, we have comparable sales value adjustments. We provide you a video regarding how to consider gross building area adjustments, sensitivity analysis. I'm not sure how much of the volume you'll be able to hear, but basically Bruce, one of our mentors, takes you through regression analysis. So that's additional guidance for you to be able to support your adjustments as you go through the sales comparison approach. And then step 7, reconcile all the numbers from different approaches. Make sure that you have all these folders in your work file, that you've addressed all the information in there, included it in your appraisal report, and then you'll move on to step 8, which is your final submission. So, and there's links here to, for the Knowledge Center to get you straight over there if you have a question or move back and forth through, between the two areas. And there's model answers here that show what you should likely have there. Your answers don't have to match this. They're just guidance as far as what to fill in. And as you notice, we don't have the reconciliation statements filled in. Between guidance and your prior education, you should be able to understand that here is where you need to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of the approaches that were developed, and then include a statement that an approach was not applicable or not developed and why. So we're to the step 8. So once again, you're just the final review, final information that should be in your zip file for the work file and for your completed report. So then you will upload the report. Once the mentor grades it, then you are done and you can move on to the next assignment. So this is basically the way the practice assignments work, the way the Knowledge Center works. I hope that this has answered quite a few of your questions. We'll be glad to show you anything about AI PAREA. If you have some questions, I will show you a finished report. So this is one of our passing assignments for Moss Hill. So you notice the pictures, the letter of engagement. Let's take this to letter of transmittal. So letter of engagement. Transmittal. They have their use compliance addenda, the fully completed residential appraisal report form, sales grid. Move on down to additional sales. They have the square foot cost form filled out as required with the supporting site value opinion. Neighborhood description, market condition, highest and best use. And keep in mind, this is only their second assignment, so this participant did very well, including all the required items. Here's some market condition charts addendum. Here is the linear regression analysis, part 1, part 2. We advise them about, outliers and how things can skew some of your information as far as linear regression, group sales data analysis, and then there's some sensitivity analysis. So all this using a spreadsheet that we provide called Determining GLA or GBA Adjustments. And that spreadsheet is what is part of that video explaining linear regression and sensitivity analysis. So obviously that helped quite a bit to help this participant support that gross living area adjustment. So these are all the subject photos, neighborhood maps. You can do a neighborhood boundary map, which we recommend that all participants do, that coordinates with the neighborhood analysis. So that's what the yellow was there. Different aerial maps for the client. The flood map, which the Appraiser Pro will, you have the option to generate the flood map. Each participant is given, I think, like 40 free flood map determinations. It's very easy to do it from the program. We have the plat map sketch. So basically you get the, if they're not using the SketchUp program, you will have to use the square footage calculation adjustment or addendum form to show where the square footage calculation was made. So that's basically it. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. And that's it. Thank you.
Is that the end of the video, I suspect?
That's it.
Okay. Do we have any questions from any of the board members or anybody in attendance? As far as not the general public, mind you, but board members.
Well, I've got one quick comment, Dana and Sandy. As an investigator, that report looked better than probably 70% of the ones that we see here that are associated with allegations. So kudos.
Yes, yes, they are learning they have to support everything, and they sometimes whine a little bit about it, but
Good, good.
Well, Chad, it looks like we've come to the conclusion of this meeting. If there's not any other questions from the board, we need to have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
That would be the next order of business to close.
So moved.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
you
We
very much,
appreciate
Mr.
it.
Chair and members of the board and Chad
Oh,
for
hold on.
organizing this. We appreciate
Time
the
out, time out.
opportunity.
We had a motion. We didn't have a vote yet. So the
Okay.
meeting's still running. Sorry, guys.
Jump the gun.
So motion, Kathy motioned.
I'll second that.
Owen with the second. Stephanie, can you go ahead and give us a roll call?
Yes. Jeff,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Owen,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
and Kathy.
Yes.
The motion passes. Looks like the meeting's adjourned. Anybody has anything?
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much. And yeah, Sandy, Dana, Scott, I personally want to thank all three of you for taking your time to come and talk with all of us. This has been really informative, at least for me, in terms of, I think a lot of us have been operating in somewhat of a vacuum. We've had information, but no visualization. And I think we got a little bit of that today. So I really appreciate the level of detail that you were able to give us today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all
Thank you
for
for
taking
having
the
us.
time.
You're welcome. Thank
Thanks,
you.
AI. You guys are great.
Thank you all very
Bye.
much. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.